Morning, everyone. We are heading up through the cold, rainy, foggy Rocky Mountains right now because we are crossing over to the western slope on our trip to Utah. It is currently 43 degrees Fahrenheit up here, which is horrible, but hopefully as soon as we crest the divide, it'll get back up to a nice toasty 70s, 80s degrees. Down in Grand Junction, it's supposed to be like 85 today, so here's looking forward to that. This trip was a little different from my previous ones in that it was kind of half herping and half sightseeing. Utah is a state that I have never spent much time in, so I was taking the time to also visit all the national parks and some of the monuments in and around its borders, starting with Colorado National Monument right here, taking in the botany, the geology, the history of the state, as well as looking for the wildlife. So first stop on this trip, you're not quite in Utah yet, but there's a place here that I have not yet been in my own state that I needed to come visit. It is 2,000 feet up above the actual Colorado River Valley, which we just climbed out of and we'll return to again later. Part of the greater Colorado Plateau. Welcome to Colorado National Monument. Wish I could give you guys smell-o-vision right now, because whenever these little flowers are, some of these pretty blue centers, you can smell them from 10 feet away. They are so floral and fragrant. Alright, and right there through the weeds, stupid camera doesn't want to focus on him. Our first reptile of the trip. It's not really much to look at per se, because it's just our northern plateau lizard. Another member of the Sceloporus group. But still, reptile nonetheless. Slightly better view of him. Or her. Not sure from here. When people think of monuments that the Colorado River has helped develop, usually their mind will go to the Grand Canyon, which is part of the greater Colorado Plateau, but Colorado's first great works are still here in the state of its name. Places like Glenwood Canyon and the Grand Valley out here. The Uncompahgre Plateau here, lifted up, and all the side channels that come off of it have slowly carved this out over millions of years. Create a rather unique landscape. One grand uplift where hundreds of canyons pour off of it towards the Colorado out there. And though it would somehow still prove slightly too dry for good herping in a lot of places, all the wet weather we had this spring resulted in an absolute mass flowering of all sorts of different plants out there. Beautiful flowers everywhere you looked. These I've been trying to get grown back home. This is Grand Mesa Penstemon. A very large and absolutely brilliant blue species of Penstemon. And it is out here also with some of the most brilliant paintbrush I have ever seen. There have been patches of this that looked like it was glowing. My first real hike of the trip was half a mile down into a canyon on the face of the National Monument, descending almost straight down the cliff face from the high desert up above into a more riparian environment down below. Beautiful wildflowers all the way down the slope, and once again, not a whole lot of reptiles, although there were a handful that did show up, but plenty of flowers and some other interesting insects and such. You can imagine these would not stand out if you were looking up from the valley floor. You come up high, and the monuments of Colorado National Monuments Monument Valley, or Monument Canyon, are quite incredible. There's more up the canyon that way that we can't see from here. You got Grand Junction and Fruita way out there. While the landscape was beautiful, unfortunately, again, there weren't a whole lot of reptiles that were out and active that I was actually looking for, and the cruising that night did not produce much of anything either. So next morning started off in the central mountains of Utah. All right, folks, it's taken 2 long days, but we've got our first snake here. I'm gonna put the camera down to get him out of this real quick, but got a western yellow-bellied racer. All right, here we go. This is Coluber constrictor mormon, the western yellow-bellied racer, and you can see why they're called that. That beautiful yellowish colored belly. These guys are very, very similar to the eastern yellow-bellieds that are found on the other side of the continental divide, the ones that I am used to seeing. This is a whole different subspecies though, and it might have almost the same size range as the eastern yellow-bellies, making it one of the most widespread racers in the US. Beautiful animals. They are pursuit predators rather than ambush like a lot of other snakes, and they'll run down just about anything that they can catch, which sometimes may include other snakes. But they'll eat all sorts of stuff. There's a second one over here. So hold on a second. Well, I missed the second one, but we got this guy, so we'll get a couple of photos and then let him on his way. Racers are pretty well known for being bitey little animals, and for good reason, because they have literally no other defenses that they can use. They don't really have big teeth, they're not venomous, yes they musk, but that's about it, and otherwise they have speed to help them, and if they can't outrun a predator, then all that they've got left is to bite. But often if you handle them gently, you can often get around this, and there are a handful of individuals that will just kind of remain calm and allow you to get some good photos. Alright dude, here you go. And he's gone. They could be under the logs. And I think they're just active right now. Let's see. First off. Nothing under the log. And the other racer is probably gone by now. That's okay. Something about this field, I guess. Oh, come on. Okay, look again then. Nothing. Damn. And we've got a second one, and there's a third one over by the log that's over here. This guy's got some blues on him, which is really cool. Hi. He's also a little bit more fired up, a little smaller. Hello, sir. Hey, you're pretty. Are you gonna bite the camera? Oh, look at you. Okay, we'll let you go in just a sec here. I would say both the eastern and western yellow-bellies have kind of a reputation for being rather drab animals, and that's how I kind of started off describing them, but as this one shows, that's kind of a wrong impression to get. Some of them can be drab, but others can be incredibly beautiful animals with lots of subtle color in their scales. Zoom! And away he goes. Somewhere over there. And there's another one right over here somewhere. So after that second racer, I unfortunately missed the third one, and not too long after that into the hike, the heavens opened and the rain came down. So we took a short break for lunch, and then after the rain stopped, I headed back up, because right after rains is one of the best times to go look for the animal that was my target, the northern rubber boa, which unfortunately would remain elusive, but other animals did show up. Alright, so it's not a snake, but came back out on the trail that I've been on after it rained, and there is a huge, I'm guessing this is a leopard slug underneath the log here. He's like 3 inches long. Here's pinky finger for scale. Weird looking little thing. Look at him. Tickle, tickle. He's not reacting much. Well, it's not quite what I was wanting to find underneath the log, but hey, we got a third racer. Gonna get him in hand in a sec here. All right, racer number 3 in hand that the camera doesn't want to focus on. And he's all cold and slow now because it rained. Quite a beautiful color though. It's very slaty green. The color on the camera is kind of putting it off, but whatever. He's still pretty. So I'm going to get a couple of photos and then put him back under his log here. Alright, dude. You were under here. Okay? Right back under your log. There you go. Well, it looks like it's going to be a day of racers, because here's number 4. Very pretty animal. We're just going to hold him for just a sec, get a photo, and then let him go. Alright, dude. Here you go. Well, run, run. Down the hill he goes. He's still right next to me. Got his head right there. Come on, go. Alright folks, I think that's going to wrap up this video. I took a little walk out here on a little kind of city nature trail, as it were. Try and scrounge up one last thing, but between the unexpected rains that came through and trail closures that are in place in a couple places, and just generally being unfamiliar with this area, Utah has not exactly greeted me with the greatest of luck yet. Now, we are going to be in a couple of rather different environments the next few days, so hopefully things will turn out a little better, but that'll be for the next vid. And until then, if you'd like to see more, you can always find me on patreon.com/hcarlton. You can help support there if you like seeing educational materials like this. If you can't give monthly, and remember, patrons do get exclusive benefits back too, but if you can't give monthly, then there's also one-time donations that can be taken at coffee. And if you can't support financially in that manner, if you want to like buy plants or something, there's always the stuff that is listed at carltoncarnivores.com. You can also access the database and the blog there. And of course, liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel here helps grow the channel, and that is also much needed support. And if you'd like to see more clips, videos, little tidbits, you can always find me on social media at Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Carlton Carnivores. But until next time, I'm Hawk and Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.